Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
And I'm Pauline Verzosa, sitting in for Angela Lagunzad Castro.
At least
Ako
klaro.
muna.
Diba?
Sit in muna.
Kasi mga ibang viewers namin minsan.
Baka namamalikmata po kayo. Ako po si Pauline, sitting in muna for Miss Angela
Uy,
today.
thank you for joining us.
Yes.
You came from the big story last night. You guys covered how do you call it? What do you call it?
Prayer vigil.
So it's an unorganized prayer vigil na voluntary lang.
Yan ang sinasabi daw nila.
Pag-uusapan natin yan.
Okay.
Kwentuhan mo kami yan mamaya. But we're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee. This is Brunch.
Now let's begin our countdown with some developments on the Marcos-Duterte feud. Some Duterte supporters gathered around and inside EDSA shrine yesterday. They held a prayer vigil apparently to show support for the vice president. It was not clear though who organized the event, with some saying it was just voluntary. The number of people reached around 300 to 400 on Tuesday.
A lot of people came in here. At hindi ito yung mga usual na nagpupunta dito sa EDSA Shrine. Ang dami nila. And then not only that, pagdating naman ng 12:15 Mass, mas dumami pa. So kaya sabi ko, this is something extraordinary. At nakita na namin ngayon na may mga vloggers. So nagkaroon na kami ng inkling, pero merong purpose ito. Pero hindi na rin naman kami nagtanong kung ano talaga ang purpose nila o saan ang galing. Kasi sila din mismo hindi nila alam eh.
So you guys spoke with a lot of them, with the father, tsaka yung
Father Jerome.
and you spoke with yung reporter on the ground.
Yes,
So how did this all start ba? I mean, biglaan na lang kasi may lumabas and then a lot of us didn't know what to make of it. Was this a Duterte prayer vigil? Was this just a group of religious people?
Actually, no. So it started yesterday morning. Pumunta na lang kasi sila doon. Actually, Faith yesterday was reporting. Hindi rin sila talaga sure sinong nag-organize. They can't really pinpoint a leader. Although there were vloggers present doon sa EDSA Shrine. Sabi nga ni Father, vloggers have been there actually since July, every Friday.
So it's hindi it's kumbaga the vloggers was not something that was unusual.
Oo, it's not unusual. Pero Faith did report na some of the supporters rode a bus, or there were buses that transported them there. Pero nung tinatanong nila, sino nag-organize sa inyo, wala naman daw. But parang merong isang message, I believe, on Facebook ata na nagsabi, magtipon tayo dito. Hindi pa na-identify talaga kung sino yung account na yon, yung tao na yon.
Okay.
But that's possibly how it started. Pero as we speak right now, 10 a.m., actually, nandyan pa rin yung mga supporters sa EDSA Shrine.
So let me get this clear. This all started with, according to them, with a Facebook post. Okay. And right now, well, you can see on your screen, so I don't know. That was someone yesterday. Kiniklaim nga ni Father na, and you were also saying that a lot of people were saying that during the Mass, most of them didn't even know how to
kneel,
yung
when
Catholic
to kneel,
rites.
when to stand during
and they're claiming
the ceremony.
kasi they're part of a prayer group. That was the
Prayer vigil.
original claim, di ba? But then other people were saying may bus, may packed lunch. Diba?
So parang balak talaga nila mag-stay dyan. Actually, we're seeing reports. Some supporters plan to stay until Thursday. So,
Thursday because
bukas.
VP Sara, di ba, when she going to the NBI? Friday.
Sa Friday pa naman ang pagpunta ni VP Sara. But we are seeing supporters here. Sabi nga natin, nasa 300 to 400 ang nagtipon dyan sa EDSA Shrine, which we all know is a very significant place in
kasi
history.
The People Power EDSA revolution happened there, and then the so-called EDSA Dos, which was the EDSA that overthrew si Erap Estrada. But
Pero nakakatawa yung sinabi ni Father Jerome, yung iba daw sa kanila, they don't know why they're there. Some do, and that is to show support daw para sa vice-presidente. But there are also some who don't really know kung ano daw yung ginagawa nila doon. But nonetheless, sabi naman ni Father Jerome, they won't be showing anyone away dito sa EDSA Shrine.
Yan na. Okay, mga prayerful people lang naman yan.
Ayan. So, nagsama-sama sila para magdasal.
Anyway, we'll continue monitoring the situation, but for the meantime, let's move on to the next.
And now, going to our ninth spot is a Filipino fugitive. A 35-year-old Filipino involved in a multi-million investment scam is set to be deported from Indonesia today. Authorities nabbed Hector Aldwin Pantoliana in Bali on November 9 after he tried to leave Indonesia. The airport's computer registry identified him as a fugitive wanted for persecution. Pantoliana was involved in running a $67 million investment scam in the Philippines. The Philippine National Police said that Pantoliana is going to be swapped with Handoyo Salman, an Indonesian allegedly involved in multi-billion peso online scams. Ayan. So actually, nakita ko dito, si Pantoliana is involved in soliciting investments through loan contracts. So parang Ponzi scheme yung nire-run niya sa Pilipinas. And I guess he hid dito sa Indonesia, no? Pero naaresto na siya and he is set to be deported to the Philippines today.
Hindi kaya di ba? So of course from Indonesia nanggaling din si
Si
Mary Jane Veloso. Okay.
And ito si Pantoliana swindled 4 billion pesos from 10,000 unsuspecting investors. So
And ang
grabe rin
swindle niya is from the Philippines or over?
Parang hindi malinaw, no? Pero 10,000 unsuspecting investors. Pero
Wow,
yung
4
kanyang-
billion pesos.
4 billion.
Malaki.
And actually, nung June, the SEC already filed a criminal complaint against him. Kasi yung mga companies niya, ito medyo na, what stood out for me, Philippine National Esports League, Horizon Players Club, and Team Z. So parang connected sa esports,
Puro
connected sa mga
esports,
online.
puro esports siya. Oo.
And dun yung mga criminal complaints.
So, pero wala pa tayong details kung anong specifics na ginagawa niya. Siguro kasi, we'll wait it out kung ano yung i-release ng court with regards to, tapos na ba? Found guilty na? Not yet, na?
Hindi pa.
Yun. So, kaya
But
pala.
ito si Pantoliana was arrested also with the help of Interpol. So, ganun siya talaga ka-wanted internationally.
So, ganun pala Interpol. Sino kaya next?
Sinong next?
Ng
Ayun,
Interpol.
abangan natin yan.
Wala kami sinasabi. Just asking a valid question. Let's
Alright.
move on to the next.
Bilang Pilipino, bilang Pilipino.
Coming in at the top 8, an election officer in Lanao del Norte was killed in an apparent poll-related violence. Marca Valleser, acting election officer in Nungan town, was ambushed while driving his car on Monday. Comelec says the incident is an assault on the country's democracy. It adds that this violence disrupts the electoral process and undermines the values of justice and freedom of a nation.
Yung gumagawa ng ganyan, duwag. Bakit pagka pa pumatay ka, mananalo ka?
Yeah, when we spoke before with Chairman George Garcia, he was saying that, their aim sana was to try to achieve zero casualty rate on both sides. Kasi he said we have a fresh start, we have a new system in place, we're doing so many things, sabi niya, na hindi pa nagagawa before. We made it easier for PWDs, pero that's why when in his other interviews, medyo he was pissed with what happened with his killing because until now, they're still trying to determine ano ba ang intention sa pagpatay because if it's related to the actual elections because hindi naman kandidato ang pinatay. It's an officer, di ba?
Tama yan. Very alarming, no? Pati nakakalungkot na may mga ganitong insidente pa rin. Actually, itong si Mark Orlando Valleser.
Valleser, yeah.
Yes, the one riding a red car that was gunned down by 2 gunmen riding in tandem. Actually, he expressed to some of his friends na he's been receiving death threats na daw.
So pero wala pang clarity as to anong why he has death threats. So,
Ito namang si Pandoy, ganun din. 2 gunmen riding in tandem sa motorcycle fired at him while coming home from a barber shop. So same incident, 2 gunmen riding in tandem sa motorsiklo and pinapatay sila while in their vehicles. And it's very alarming. Actually, ang Mindanao naman is a volatile areas when it comes to elections, no? So sana ano pa ng mga autoridad.
Yeah, but we've seen marked improvement kasi in terms of peace in the area. That's why medyong na-alarm si Chairman George Garcia with this. But soon when the election is in full swing in campaigning period, then they will have control already over these areas. Masala yung mga hotspots to be determined kung ano yung magiging election hotspots. Ayun, okay, let's move on. Coming up, why was dismissed Mayor Alice Go absent in the last Senate POGO hearing yesterday?
And the NBI issues a subpoena for Vice President Sara Duterte over her controversial remarks against President Marcos. We are just getting started, but we have more of our top 10 news here when Brunch returns. Keep it here only on One News. Good morning and welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on One News.
Wait lang ha, may mga baka magtampo mga viewers eh.
Bakit
of course,
naman?
sanay sila sa binabati sila. First, let's start off with si Ralph Domingo.
Oh, yes, of course.
Speaking of it, Sir Angelo, always perfect attendance.
Kaya, oo nga.
Ito daw si Elmer Abad. Sino kaya si Elmer Abad? Good morning, Elmer. Sam Pokemon Go, good morning, Pauline and Angelo. Good morning daw. And Alex Fuentes, maraming salamat sa mga sticker na pinadala. And si VJ.
Yan, good morning
Good
sa
morning.
YouTube. Meron din tayong mga viewers, ano? Sabi, good morning, Team Castro. Ayan. Pero one half of Team Castro lang po muna ang kasama sa brunch ngayon.
Oo, nahati ngayon ate.
Oo.
Oo. Pero madami pa rin tayong pag-uusapan ngayon. So let's move on to it.
And settling at the 7th spot is the 2025 national budget. The Senate has approved the proposed 6.35 trillion national budget for 2025, but with some exceptions. The controversial budget proposals of the Vice President and the Financial Assistance Program, Ayuda sa Kapos ang Kita Program or AKAP, were set aside. These budget proposals are going to be discussed at a bicameral conference committee. The proposed national budget got 18 affirmative, 0 negative, and 1 abstention from Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel.
So that's the Senate version, no? And then sa lower house, kung magkatugma sila sa BICAM, we see the budget passing swiftly. But yung sinasabi mo about yung ayuda, ang naging issue kasi on this whole year about the ayuda when they took a look at the DSWD, even sa Office of the Vice President, kasi humingi si VP Sara, all these agencies have multiple ayuda programs which have the same beneficiaries. So, technically kasi, if you have one ayuda program, you're not supposed to be in the other kasi iba-ibang, you're supposed to be targeting different demographics. So, nagka-problema is, one person has multiple dole-outs from different programs. So, gusto tignan ng Senado, can we incorporate na lang most of the ayuda programs into one with a bigger payout? Or should we remove it totally mga iba dahil it's overlapping?
Kasi redundant,
Redundant,
no? Pag
yeah.
pare-pareho nga sila ng beneficiaries. Pero ito, in an ambush interview, no, inamin din ni Senator J.V. Harris ito, nagkainitan din naman. They had a heated exchange when they were discussing the budgets, particularly nung sa OVP nga,
Yeah.
and itong AKAP. But they reached a compromise, quote-unquote, and they all decided na antayin na nga lang nila yung magiging outcome ng BICAM Conference Committee.
So, they deferred it.
They deferred it, oo. Pero of course not without, yun nga, yung heated exchange. Pero as we remember, no, itong si VP Sara, sinabi naman din kasi niya, if you cut her budget, 200 OVP personnel could lose their jobs kung ma-reduce yung budget ng kanyang opisina, lalo na sa mga satellite office.
Yeah.
Tapos hindi rin matutuloy yung ibang projects niya like free bus rides, financial assistance, mga ganon. But
Yeah.
then, as you mentioned, baka redundant din kasi.
Kasi nagka-issue, for example, yung with regards to the Office of the Vice President, usually kasi when you give an endorsement letter from the OVP, they just merely put you in the front, sa harap ng linya. Kunyari sa DSWD, imbis na pipila ka, meron kang special lane. Ang nangyari kasi minsan, mag-guarantee letter daw from the OVP, and nabigyan na ng ayuda from the OVP mismo, binigyan pa ng guarantee letter, pumunta pa ng DSWD. Kaya di ba nagreklamo si VP Sara, yung mga in-endorse ko, hindi nyo binibigyan. Yung pala, when they check the records, nakakuha na daw. So may mga yun, rineject yun syempre. Tapos number 2, yung sa bus rides, yung free bus rides, I think VP Lenny did that, but at the expense of other people na na-donate from private companies. And the satellite offices, ang sabi kasi ng lower house, teka lang, why do you need many satellite offices? Why don't you just have one office muna? Para let's be prudent in spending.
Kasi nagawa rin naman yan ng former Vice President.
Without confidential funds. One office. Oo, muntik pa maging zero budget si VP Lenny nun.
Oo nga.
Pero wala po kaming kinakampihan, ha?
Okay. Ano kami? All sides, all the time.
All sides, exactly. Ayan,
Alright.
let's move on. Sitting at the 6th spot is about the armed forces of the Philippines. The AFP remains silent on reports of the U.S. planning to deploy missile units in the country in case China attacks Taiwan. A report from Japan-based Kyodo News claimed that the U.S. Army would deploy the multi-domain task force's long-range fire units in the Philippines as part of their Taiwan contingency. The Army dodged questions on the matter and insisted the report has unverified sources. Instead, they highlighted their contingency plan of evacuating 200,000 Filipinos in Taiwan in case Beijing invades Taipei. Yeah, well, di ba we have the Typhoon missile systems already in place here na kinagagalit ng China, but those are medium-range missiles. Yung long-range, yan ang talagang papalagan ng China because if we have those long-range systems here, then the US can launch them here and hit the capitals of China from the Philippines or even from Guam.
Yun.
That's why China doesn't like that. Ayaw daw ng China ng bully.
Pero as of now, silent pa rin itong AFP, as we
Yes.
reported. They still remain mum. At yung pinag-uusapan lang nila, yung contingency plan nga na
Evacuation. Oo.
200,000 Filipinos sa Taiwan nga yan, kung in case ma-invade sila ng China.
But of course, I heard kasi that China is playing it mum at the moment, waiting to see what President-elect Donald Trump does when he assumes office. If his policies are very stringent and tight on China, then China will have to take another route, which maybe ang receiving end niyan would be Taiwan. So, but it all depends also on how U.S. politics plays out.
Ayan. So January, uupo
January,
si
President-elect Donald
Trump as the new, or for his second term, or for second...
tama ka, second
no?
term pero hindi consecutive.
Hindi consecutive.
Oo, so Trump, Biden, Trump.
Oo, so Trump 2.0 yan for United States. Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Now, on our top 5, the NBI receives unconfirmed information that former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque has already left the Philippines. NBI Director Jaime Santiago said in a radio interview that they are still verifying this information. This comes after Vice President Sara Duterte seemingly dropped a hint that Roque has gotten out of the country. The former presidential spokesperson is a subject of an arrest order issued by the House of Representatives.
Look at Secretary Harry Roque.
Yeah.
Ayaw umalis noon sa bansa. Kasi yung mga anak niya maiiwanan. Pero look at him. Umalis na lang.
Interesting, I honestly, I didn't know much about this. Kala ko lang nag-abroad, pero yung pala, they're looking at it as him leaving.
Kasi meron kasing immigration lookout bulletin order
Yeah,
para kay Harry Roque, and it was in August pa binigay yung lookout order na yon.
But if this is so
Sir
kasi, wala naman siyang actually cases against him except from the lower house, which you know naman, at pag na-terminate yung hearing, so does yung contempt order or arrest order against him mawawala. Unless he already knows something na possible cases are gonna be filed against him. Kasi, di ba, he sees what's happening to VP Sara and to the other members of the Duterte clan, di ba? So maybe he's anticipating I don't know, pero I honestly I thought he just went out kasi we all know he dropped out of the Senate race I think the midterms during the Duterte because the midterm of the Duterte presidency because he had a heart problem.
Correct.
And he usually frequents going to the US to have his heart checked. Oo.
Pero ito actually for the Bureau of Immigration, wala naman daw silang nakuhang record na umalis si...
Walang record except what VP Sara said.
Except what VP Sara said. But then again, di ba, nung kay Alice Go, wala rin naman nakitang record ang BI ng kanyang pag-alis.
Ikaw?
Pero nakaalis.
Ala.
Pero I mean, di ba, itong, we'll see kung talagang nandito pa ba siya sa Pilipinas. Pwede naman din niya i-confirm yun personally.
Dalawang angle, maganda yung angle mo. It's either si Alice Go, nakaalis, di natin alam, or yung nagbigay ng info, nag-joke lang.
And but for NBI, they did receive unconfirmed info nga na...
So the NBI has info that he left, but as the immigration does not have record of him leaving. Nako, ito na naman po tayo if ever.
Paghahanap.
Oo. It's Christmas na. Time for some good news naman. Sige na.
Tinan natin, good news na ba yung sunod?
I don't think. Let's move on. Coming in at the top 4, Senator Risa Ontiveros bears POGO ties to Chinese espionage and disinformation operations. Here's the report.
Former Presidential Economic Advisor Michael Yang and self-confessed Chinese spy She Shijiang was seen together in this photo. This presented in the Senate hearing on Tuesday. Senator Risa Ontiveros believes that Yang is involved in China's intelligence operations.
POGO is a monster, and it further deepens what we already know. Michael Yang is a key actor in Chinese intelligence operations here. Michael Yang nasangkot sa Pharmally, and if the reports are accurate, sa drug operations dito. Michael Yang, na economic advisor ng dating Pangulo. Ginatasan na tayo, pinagtaksilan pa.
But Yang's lawyer insisted that it's unfair to draw up conclusions based on a photo. Despite the revelations of Shi Zhang, the National Intelligence Coordinating Council has yet to determine if Alice Guo was indeed a Chinese spy. She was not allowed to attend the hearing as she had to go to a court hearing. Meanwhile, Wang Fugui, a former co-inmate of Shi Zhang, said some Filipinos were recruited by China to become spies.
There are Filipinos working against the interests of the Philippines.
是的，就是
Yes, that is correct. Based on the information that is provided by Mr. She, but of course we have to confirm.
Do you have in the decrypted files the names of Filipino citizens?
这个的话
I apologize if I cannot provide this information because again, this is information from Mr. She.
公开了。
It was then revealed in the hearing that some POGO hubs were used to spread fake news. Ontiveros vowed to push for legislations to avoid another making of another Alice Guo.
So yan, agent of, not an actual agent, but an agent of ano daw, interest?
Influence.
Of influence. Agent, ano bang
Si
description
Alice
nila
po,
nun?
ibig sabihin na parang she can influence using her position to serve the country or to help the country that she serves. So, yun ang ginamit na ano.
Well, yun na naman from the
Agent
start,
of
di ba, of the
influence,
POGO hearings. That's what they were trying to point at, that these POGO hubs are merely possibly a front for spies from China. And a lot, kasi nung renade nila ibang mga POGO hub, di ba, supposedly they saw rifles and uniforms from the Chinese Liberation Army,
Tama.
People's Liberation Army. Oo.
Sa loob ng mga compound yan, ano? Pero
Yeah.
ito yung lawyer ni Michael Yang, sabi nga niya, it's unfair to draw a conclusion based on a photo na magkasama nga ito si Michael Yang,
Ayun, oo.
o pati si Shi Zhang, I believe. So, o nga naman, baka naman, di ba, yun yung pinaglalaban nila. It's just a photo.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, na kung Chinese spy ba talaga siya kasi minemaintain pa rin nila na hindi naman.
Oo, ang ano kasi is, di ba, his records just disappeared. Di ba? No trace about on him. Usually, ang sinasabi ni Senator Ontiveros, when records just totally disappear on somebody, that means that person is a spy. Pero kasi you're right also with saying na, well, it's just a photo. We've had Senator Laila de Lima, may mga pictures siya with a few drug dealers. Pero, di ba, she said, I don't know, people come up, they take pictures, di ba?
Oo,
And she was acquitted.
Oo. Kasi, I mean, diba, any ordinary, kuwari, tayo rin naman, kung papapicture tayo sa isang...
Yung pala,
Oo, may-
killer na o dealer na. Sabihin
Mahirap
mo,
na
killer
pala.
ka rin.
Oo nga, mahirap na pala magpa-picture ngayon, wag na lang.
Huwag na lang.
Oo. But then again, even si Alice ko, di ba, had a photo with
Yeah.
President Bongbong Marcos and the First Lady. Pero mahirap naman nga rin to draw conclusion kung there are ties between them. But for Senator Risa Ontiveros, ito na yung pag-wrap up niya ng POGO
Yes.
hearings. She vowed na sana hindi na magkaroon ulit ng Alice Guo, kung saan pinaniniwala ang Chinese citizen talaga and ran for public
2.0.
office.
Let's go 2.0.
Oh, naku, mahirap na yan.
Pero di ba, you mentioned she's wrapping up the hearing. I think the goal here now is to craft a law to make sure, kasi executive order pa lang ang nananaig ngayon, which PBBM issued to get rid of POGO. So I think they're looking for an actual law so that kahit no matter which administration comes in, hindi mag-iiba. Kasi if it's just an EO and there's another president that likes POGO, pwede niya ibalik yung POGO. So this law will ensure that even if there is another president, it's already in
Pero yung
enacted into law.
crackdown on POGOs, dapat, di ba, sabi ni PBBM, end of the year, wala na dapat lahat yan.
Ang ano daw ngayon, yung mga nagtayo pa ng new POGOs, narinig mo, mga Pilipino?
Mga Pilipino pa daw.
Oo, yung mga
online.
equipment daw na iniwan ng mga big POGO, tinangay daw nila, they put up small POGOs inside the metro, mga Pinoy. Ay, nako naman.
Yan din yung tinatry hulihin nga ng tao.
Harder daw, mas mahirap because
Mahirap.
maliliit breakaway groups
Correct.
Oo.
And yung iba sa kanila, staff ng mga POGO dati na nagtayo na lang ng
Yes.
sarili nila. And nakakalungkot kasi yung mga binivictim daw pa nila is mga kapwa Pilipino.
Kapwa Pilipino.
Through online scams nga yan.
Kaya Yeah.
Ayan. So sana magawan din ng solusyon yan, ano? And talagang matanggal na yung mga POGO dito sa Pilipinas. But meanwhile, before we head on over to our next story, ito po, members of the Philippine business community gathered for the Business World's Forecast 2025 Forum. At para bigyan ng mukha ang balita, Mobile Journal, Amy Atienza.
Nothing beats walking towards a sustained growth path. Kaya naman nagsama-sama ang mga business enthusiasts sa bansa para sa Business World Forecast 2025 Forum. With its goal to keep the Philippine economy on moving forward, the country's leading business newspaper, Business World, held its annual forecast convention yesterday. Business World Editor-in-Chief Cathy Rose Garcia aimed to discuss various issues and possible plans of action to ensure stability in our economy. Our goal is to create a venue where business leaders can discuss the pressing issues for 2025 and what strategies they can adopt to drive growth. The program consisted 3 panel discussions with speakers from different top local corporations with the likes of Ayala Corporation, SM Investments Corporation, and Megawide Construction Corporation. The discussions focused on the importance of investments for sustained economic growth, impact of infrastructure and mobility on economy, and suggestions to keep retail prices in pace with consumers' changing ways.
Focuses on themes of resilience, adaptation, and shared success as the Philippines works to build on the foundations of a stable, inclusive economy.
There were also talks from professionals to help the Philippine business community to propel towards excellence in the global market. In this light, Department of Finance Undersecretary Dominique Velasquez saw that Filipinos have the capability to rise internationally.
The Philippines is no longer just preparing for economic takeoff. We stand ready to soar as a global economic superstar, fueled by resilience, innovation, and determination of our people. Now, more than ever, is the perfect time to ride this momentum.
With this forum, Garcia also hopes that it can help Filipinos in making better decisions as business owners and as consumers. I think it's important to know that what is the outlook for 2025 and beyond, because it will help decision makers and even ordinary Filipinos make their decisions based on what will happen in 2025. Business World Forecast 2025 was held at the Grand Hyatt Hotel in Bonifacio Global City, Taguig. Mobile journalist Amy Atienza, PR1 News.
Don't go away because we're not done yet. May tatlo pa tayo. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching a Brunch here on One News. Good morning din pala kay Vladimir, kay Ice, and sa mga tito at tita ko na nanonood.
Hoy,
Ang
good
mga
morning
suki,
po.
mga
Talaga ba? Every day?
Pero old school sila, they watch on TV. Hindi daw nila alam yung social media na yan.
Nakakatuwa naman. At least kahit papano, diba? TV is still
Support.
there and it's still alive.
Huwag po kayo mga-high blood sa mga balita, ha? Oo. Ma-high blood na lang tayo sa lechon.
Ay, parang ano naman yun? Masama naman yun sa health.
Oo.
Ang lechon.
Let's all stay healthy. Anyway, let's move on.
All right, now going to our third spot is former President Rodrigo Duterte. Lawmakers criticized our former leader for seemingly convincing the military to withdraw their support for President Bongbong Marcos. One Rider Party List representative, Roque Rodriguez, said the former president's recent remarks should not be dignified with serious consideration. Deputy Majority Leader Paulo Francisco Ortega V also called Duterte's calls as lumang tugtugin. He believes no one will believe the former president anymore. Meanwhile, Nueva Ecija 3rd District Representative Rosana Ria Vergara told the former president to be careful with his words.
I was personally disheartened, disappointed, and frustrated watching our former president's press con last night, a man I respect for calling on the military to rethink their stand on supporting President Marcos, our commander-in-chief, because he claims our president is a drug addict. These are careless and unfounded, dangerous statements that are meant to destabilize and divert our country's attention.
But I don't think they should be shocked anymore. Diba? They had that prayer rally, I think it was in Cebu or Davao, and he challenged the PBBM to a drug test, and then he called on also the military to withdraw support. So it's something that shouldn't be alarming to most of them because PRRD has done this time and again.
Oo. Well, as sabi ni Deputy Majority Leader Paulo Ortega, lumang tugtugin na daw yan. Lumang tugtugin. So, like you mentioned, hindi na dapat ma-surprise. But, for the palace, sabi ni EDSA Bersamin, hindi pwedeng ganyan yung mga mag-statements nga. They said it's a very selfish motive. He called out President Duterte for calling for a sitting president to be overthrown so that his daughter could take over the government. For the palace, syempre hindi okay yan, diba? They said the president should respect the Constitution.
Actually, what you're saying, medyong, kasi parang it's connected to what we're talking with Richard Haydarian, and this is the first time he's seen PBBM angry. He's known daw PBBM for a long time. He's been with them in Ilocos. He's always been relaxed, yung demeanor niya, very statesman-like. Bihira daw mapikon. But the way he said yung speech niya, na tape speech, yung response niya kay VP Sara, he was already angry. Parang sinasabi niya, are you waiting for a Marcos to put down the hammer? If you remember what his dad did to supposedly combat communism at that time or yung mga insurgents, he put down the so-called Marcos hammer. So parang galit na daw si PBBM. So siguro, I guess, even though if PRRD is saying the same things over and again, they've just had enough.
Well, speaking of si PBBM, iba na nga yung tone niya dun sa video na ni-release. You could see...
yung face niya was serious.
Very serious, more straightforward kasi since he took office 2 years ago, parang hindi naman talaga ganun.
He was joking, he was laughing, diba?
He hasn't made a statement that strong. And ito, sinabi na nga ni PBBM, diba? Yan ay papalagan ko. When it comes dun sa threat na ginawa ni VP Sara.
Nagsingit lang siya ng konting joke, diba? Yung chichirya ba?
Kwentong chichirya. Pati ang katotohanan ay hindi daw pwede itokha. So, those are some of the words that President Marcos used in his video statement.
All right, let's move on to the next. On our top two is about Vice President Sara Duterte. The Supreme Court reveals that an anonymous disbarment case was filed against the Vice President. The anonymous complaint was focused on VP Sara's previous statements about the President's late father and dictator Ferdinand Marcos Sr. Recall that VP Sara claimed that she warned Senator Amy Marcos of exhuming her father's remains and to throw them into the West Philippine Sea. The Supreme Court has yet to take action about the complaint as of the moment. Oh, ito yung may video ng ano, 'di ba? Yung aside from exhuming the president's body and throwing to the sea, yung gusto niya putulin yung ulo ni PBB. I think that was the same that was the first press conference that was scathing and full of anger.
Pero ito, actually, VP Sara is already facing 2 disbarment cases, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
Pero ito yung sinabi ng Supreme Court, they received just this month.
Anonymous daw.
Anonymous.
Oo.
And that's for her statements nga dun sa exhuming the president's father, di ba, from his grave and throwing it to the West Philippine Sea. Pero yung dun sa death threat remark na ginawa niya naman
Wala
sa
pa
president, wala pa.
Because I think this would be sa DOJ naman siguro hawak nito. It could be a sedition, it could be grave threats, 'di ba? So they will see what criminal complaints can come out of this. Kasi ang daming options eh. You have the disbarment, you have criminal cases, you also have impeachment. Oo. So ang daming options, all of this could go at the same time.
Alright, so titignan natin yan, ano? But for now, let's move on to our top story today. Our top story is the subpoena filed against Vice President Sara Duterte. She reiterated that her statement against the first couple and House Speaker Martin Romualdez were taken out of context. However, the National Bureau of Investigation and the Justice Department are not buying her explanation. Here's that report.
Let's get ready to rumble.
This is what Senator Bato de la Rosa declared as the tension between President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte is increasing.
The more you hurt her, the more she's fighting back. Ganon yung ugali ng Duterte. Hindi yan natatakot.
He said this as the National Bureau of Investigation or NBI issued a subpoena to the Vice President. This is for her remarks against President Bongbong Marcos, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Only the OVP's legal counsel was present in their office when the NBI arrived with a copy of the subpoena. VP Sara has yet to read the subpoena, but she said that she is ready to face the NBI.
Since hindi ko pa nababasa kung ano yung isi-serve nila sa akin, we will talk about NBI tomorrow. Pag-anuhin nyo lang muna ako kasi kailangan ko din isulat kung ano yung isasagot. So give me time to read and think about it.
NBI Director Jaime Santiago said this is a proof that the government is giving due process to VP Sara.
Ito ang pagpapatunay na meron tayong due process. Bibigyan natin ng pagkakataon ang ating Vice President na maibigay ang kanyang side on the controversy. No? Ipaliwanag niya at kasama na yung sinasabi niya na may threat sa kanyang buhay.
The Vice President reiterated that her statements against the first couple and Romualdez were taken out of context, despite saying in a video conference that she already told someone to target the 3 if she gets killed. VP Sara said she did not threaten anyone.
There is absolutely no flesh on the bone. And despite the absence of a reliable investigation, authorities were quick to consider this a national security concern. Pakicheck, may sinabi ba akong assassin doon? Wala. So nilalagay nila doon sa narrative nila, assassin. And nilalagay nila sa narrative nila, murder plot.
However, the NBI did not accept this explanation.
2 beses sinabi ni Madam Vice President na no joke, no joke. Diba? Talagang serious siya on her instruction to the kung sino man yung assassin, kung sino man yung kinausap niya.
Justice Undersecretary Andres did not buy VP Sara's explanation of what she called as a conditional threat.
A threat is a threat. If I say that if you do not fulfill your obligation, I will kill you. That is plain and simple threat. Whether or not you fulfill your obligation, threat pa rin yun. Kasi sinabi mo na eh.
The Philippine National Police is still conducting its investigation into the alleged assassin hired by the Vice President. So far, they have no concrete findings about the identity of the alleged hitman. VP Sara is set to face the NBI on Friday. Reporting for News 5, Elaine Fulgencio, We Are One News.
And now let's get more information about this.
We have NBI Director Jamie Santiago on the line. Good morning, Director. Ano po ang reaction nyo sa video ni VP Sara insisting that there were no threats daw talaga sa video niya at sinabi niya the only time daw may mangyayari kay PBBM kung may mangyari sa kanya.
Conditional threat,
Conditional
Director
threat.
daw.
So ano po reaction natin, sir?
Yes, magandang umaga po muna sa inyo at sa ating mga taga-pakinig. Nag-ano na po kami yan, nag-send na po kami ng subpoena para kay BP para mag-appear siya dito sa opisina namin sa Sabado, sa Biyernes, alas 9 ng umaga. Opo.
Pero given po, alam na natin kung ano yung sasagot ni VP Sara, ano po ang magiging goal natin dito? Ano yung next step after taking her statement?
Yes, kuna namin ng statement si BP, mapaliwanag niya kung bakit siya nag-declare, nagsabi ng gano'n, pronounce siya na gano'n na ipapapatay niya si Presidente, si First Lady at si Speaker.
Director, sinabi rin po ni VP Sara that her statement was maliciously taken out of logical context. Hindi naman daw yun yung sinasabi niya talaga. She did say yung paggamit daw ng words na assassin or murder plot, never naman daw niya ginamit yung mga salitang iyon. Does this change the direction of the investigation of the NBI? Kumbaga, kasi nilinaw nga ni VP Sara na it's a conditional threat at inutos lang niya yung instructions na yon sa kausap niya if siya ay papatayin.
Alam niyo po, without saying na ang ipapile namin na kaso ay grave threat, pero one of the elements of grave threat is may condition. So yung may condition na yun, that is already threat. Naibigay na niya yung kanyang threat na ipapapatay niya si Presidente.
Director, balikan ko lang how is this different again doon sa case nung 25-year-old public school teacher, si Ronel Mas, nung 2020, Director, kasi inaresto po siya kahit walang warrant. 6 days lang yan after he posted on Twitter.
Opo, iyan po, I'm not yet the director during that time, but I know the case. Yung Ronel Mas is a public school teacher na nag-offer siya ng 50 million kung sino man makakapatay kay PRRD.
Tama po.
So he was immediately arrested by the NBI and was charged in court. But yun nga, because of technicalities, na-dismiss ang kaso. And also, pinatawad siya ni Pangulong PRRD.
Okay. Pero Director, I'd like to talk about yung the press conference or yung Zoom conference in question ni VP Sara. May mga nakasama po siyang mga press ata doon, no? Ipapatawag po ba sila para kunin ang statements nila?
Identified na po namin kung sino yung kasama sa Zoom meeting. May pangalan na kami, may litrato na kami. I-check lang po namin kung anong next move namin laban sa kanila. Parang katulad ngayon na ini-interview nyo ko, ano ba naman kasalanan nyo na in-interview nyo ko?
Yes, that's
parang
right.
ganun po yun. So yung presence nila doon ay hindi naman wala namang criminal act yun. Wala pong liability.
Okay, and I'd like to touch up a little, Director, also on yung alleged hitman ni VP Sara, no? Wala naman daw siyang assassin kinausap, but the mere fact, sabi ng ibang congressman, the mere fact that somebody was ordered to do so means that this person is a hitman indeed. Meron na ba tayong information as possibly kung baka sino ang nakausap ng Vice President?
Remember, si Vice President ang nagsabi niyan. So, ayon nga kay Yusek Andres, he is considered a self-confessed mastermind. Siya na nag-utos eh.
Yes.
Ngayon, aalamin namin kung sino yung kausap niya. Kung ibigay niya sa amin or through other evidence, ma-identify namin kung sino yung kausap niyang would-be assassin.
Okay, Director, based dito sa statement ni VP Sara, ilang government security agencies are treating this already as a clear and present danger sa Pangulo. Pero kine-question nga rin po ni VP Sara, bakit daw nung siya ay nakakatanggap ng death threats, hindi naman daw siya trinit na national security concern. Can we get your thoughts on that, Director?
Malaking kaibahan po. Una, hindi naman siya nagpapile ng formal complaint sa amin na siya ay may threat. At wala namang ibang tao na nag-declare na papatayin siya. But this time, siya mismo nag-declare na ipapapatay niya ang ating Pangulo. So, malaking kaibahan po. Pero yung pong subpoena na ibinigay namin kay pangalawang Pangulo, VP Sara, yun po ay para mabigyan ng due process. Matignan natin lahat ng aspeto. Kasama na po yung sinasabi niya na may threat sa kanyang buhay.
Director, matanong ko na lang din po, we saw reports na nakatanggap daw ang NBI ng information na nakaalis na daw ng bansa si former Malacanang spokesperson Harry Roque. Could you shed more light on this, Director? Ano po yung mga natanggap niyong impormasyon? Nakalabas na ba talaga ng Pilipinas itong si Spokes?
Sinasabi nila nakalabas na, pero ang ating Bureau of Immigration sinasabi naman na wala silang record na nakalabas na si Speaker, former Presidential Speaker, spokesman na Harry Roque.
So sa side niyo po, Director, i-check niyo po ba yon? Ano po ba sino po ba yung nag-report nitong nakalabas na ng bansa si Spokes Harry?
Puro lang yun sinasabi lang nila, wala namang concrete evidence, haka-haka. So we will validate that. I-check pa po namin. Opo.
Alright, with that, thank you very much for joining us, NBA Director Jamie Santiago.
Sige po, salamat po sa inyo at sa mga taga-pakinig natin.
Maraming salamat, sir.
I think I butchered his name.
Jaime Santiago.
Sorry,
Okay lang
sorry
yun.
for that. I'm so sorry. And that's what happens with your third cup of coffee.
Oo.
Oy, wow, it's already 10:54. We made it with a lot of issues, which looks like most of them are just starting.
Oo, Wednesday pa lang parang
Wednesday pa lang?
Oo, parang Friday na kasi
Kala ko
sa
Friday,
dami ng
Friday feels.
Friday feels, but lately, alam mo, Diego, every Friday, akala mo, relax na, di ba? It's in the end of the week, pero dun lumalabas yung mga may init na balita, so tignan natin.
I agree with you. Sometimes, di ba, sa weekend, biglang may breaking story.
Just last weekend, di ba? Grabe yung mga pangyayari. So we'll see. It's only Wednesday. Marami pa tayong pag-uusapan.
Yes, definitely. Madaming pa tayong pag-uusapan. But also, we'd like to remind everyone na hindi po nagtatapos ang brunch yan. Meron pa bukas. Meron pa sa Friday. Tuloy-tuloy ang ating countdown. And thank you pala sa lahat ng viewers natin for joining us and for your comments. And for, the good comments and the violent comments. Maraming salamat. We accept all of that. That's part of the job.
Yes.
And Pauline, thank you for joining us here on
you
Brunch.
as
This is
well.
your second brunch.
My third. Uy, third na to.
Third ba to?
Oo, third.
Sorry.
Hindi kasi yung iba nasa Comelec si Angela.
Yes,
which
that's
was
right. So
Augury.
third brunch. Well, thank you for joining us. Hoy, hindi namin nagalaw yung food. Di ba? Mamaya kakainin namin yan. But with that, this wraps up today's episode of Brunch.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Angelo Castro the third. We are One You.
All sides, all the time.